Let me see. Click this button to share my screen. Okay. All right. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy One Gun here, and I thought I'd just pop in real quick and do a quick. Have y'all get a good quick look at what I am doing with Archive. So, all right. So last week, about a week or so ago, I finally got my hands on Iclone 7. I went ahead and just got Iclone 7. I didn't get the pipeline, nothing like that. Um, and I started experimenting with the Iclone with the settings and stuff like that. And what I did is a lot of trial and error. I'll tell you that much. But so far, this is where my journey has taken me with the software. Now I've been working on this scene. Now this scene is actually complete. I just bought it over here to Iclone 7 to actually I just bought over an Iclone 7 to actually, transfer the scene over from 6 to 7. And this is not a render. You can tell this is a real time. This is all in real time animation. It's just amazing what you can do when you actually go through everything, and when you actually go through the stuff that they give you is just freaking awesome. And they got this thing called LUT, LUT, loot, or LUT, whatever it's called. Well, it doesn't have an E at the end, so it had to be LUT, because it'd be loot if it had an E at the end, but it's just LUT, LUT, not loot. So who am I though? Who am I? I'm not the man for grammar, but so um, like I said, the uh, the global illumination mixed in with the HDR effects and a whole bunch of other stuff really made this scene really come out. Let me take off. Let me take the. Let me take this off. Let me take off this bloom scale right here. Totally just shut that off. And let me turn these spikes down. Actually, I can just disable this. Okay, so I had rendered this out after I got everything, but let me show you something where I was kind of shocked, because I was kind of surprised when I saw this. Is when the door opened, right? The door is opening, and if you look at the floor while the door is opening, you can see the light of the spotlight. Actually, I put a spotlight behind him to cast some shadows, but I wasn't expecting it to cast this door to cast this shadow right here. And look at it, while the door's opening, you can see the room just slowly getting some light in it. And then on top of that, you can see as the door opened, you can see the light, the light coming through the door and going down the hallway. Um, and it was just pretty cool. And then on top of that, you can also see the uh what is it? You can also see the details in the floor. The details in the floor, the wall. I mean, look all over the wall, the nice and shiny. I had to convert a lot of this stuff over to PBR textures to get this look. And it's like something you would probably see and get out of like an indigo render, um but it looks good. Look at his suit. His suit is not shiny, but it does have some highlights in it. But the highlights ain't like overpowering and bright. I do have a little depth of field, And the reason why I didn't put a whole lot, like you can see right here, I got some depth of field here on the wall. A little bit here on this guy, but this guy is like the centerpiece, so he's not going to be affected by depth of field. And it just I had some issues at first with getting the skin tones and stuff right, and I couldn't quite achieve what I was looking for. So I had to go back and start looking at what all that this program has to offer into getting what I wanted. And when I went inside of the program and started looking at those features like the loot, what's this thing, the global illumination controls and stuff like that, it finally made sense on how to basically get something really nice and something you can live with this program. So I had made the like when he turns around here, he he gets on the computer, and the computer comes on and lights him, and the light, you see it casting light onto his body right there. Not very bright light, but just light. And it looks good. I mean, I rendered this out this morning. I was amazed on how fast this renders. This renders extremely fast for a for this program. I was like, to get something like that where I get some nice good tones and shadows and nice rendering, I would probably had to use something like Indigo to get something to look as good as this. But Indigo render would look way 100 times way better than this, but you will only get an animation like this by setting your samples real low, accelerating your processors and all this stuff inside of Indigo, and then you're talking about hours of rendering for this 1 minute scene. When this scene right here took me like an hour and a half to render. And let me find it real quick. It's right here. And this is what I got from the render after everything was finished. And now I also took this inside of After Effects and didn't do nothing but add the aspect ratio to it. That's all I did. I didn't do nothing else to it. And at this point, I don't think I need to do anything else to it. I mean, I may do maybe some color correction or something, probably make it add a little more yellow to his skin, But just look. I mean, just look at the detail in this armor, and the overall look of the film is nice. It's really cool. I mean, this is one of the better renders that I've made with this program. But like I said, I've been playing around with a lot of the settings, and I thought I knew everything about the global illumination settings. And then I sat here one day and I kept on getting some crappy renders. And I'm saying, why is it crappy? So I had to rethink about what I was doing and how I was doing it with this program. So what I did is that take out all the depth of field. The depth of field will kill your render. So what I did is I didn't totally take out all the depth of field. What I did is pulled back on the depth of field, and I had to pull back because I had too much in there. And I know in 6 you can load up 6 with a whole lot of depth of field and it'll look good. It'll look okay. But when you're using this program, you're going to have to think a little differently on how you use depth of field, because too much will hurt your render. What I did is I pushed the depth of field back to the non-interesting parts. I wanted wanted to focus on what's going on in the midground, and and uh and that's basically what I did, to just pull the depth of field back and try not to let the depth of field take over your render. You know, that's all I can say. Just try to use as little line right here is fine, because we're focusing on him right here as the door opens, and then as soon as the door opens, we're focused on this guy now. So what I did is a depth of field transition where it went from him being the object of interest to uh, this guy right here is the object of interest now, because we're walking towards him. So what I did previously is that I left all this crap blurry. That's like, okay, depth of field, click it on, then click this guy, and it works like that. But you don't want to use it like that. You actually want to go into the settings and turn on the range and use your preview, and just use your preview window and set and adjust those. Your focus. Oh crap! What was it? It was your focus and your. Oh man, I forgot the name of the thing. It's two settings in your cameras, and go to modify. Let's see. Hit this. So it's two settings when you activate your camera. There is the focus distance and the focus range, and you have to play with these until you get them adjusted right, to where the depth of field isn't overpowering your render. So like I said, I wanted to control my depth of field. I didn't want to like make everything blurry from where he's at all the way up to where he is, because that you defeating the purpose. What you want to do is you want to push that blurriness or depth of field back to where it's reasonable that you really wouldn't see this when you're focused on him. Now you're going to see him, and maybe this is going to get a little out of focus, then go back, going to get a little out of focus. But when you go way, way back, it's going to get really, really out of focus, because the interest is him. Now, when he starts to walk forward, he's going to start to get blurry. This area starts to get really interesting, and then we see this guy appear out of the blur. So then after that, then it switches to another scene, to where I got depth of field going on here. I got some interesting stuff here. So I pushed the depth of field back behind him and behind the door. And depth of field is really starting right here, but it really gets real definite when you get behind him, because he's the point of interest. So that's how I had to think about. I mean, because in Iclone, I did just hit activate and just click him, and that was cool. But right now, he is still the object interest, and the depth of field kind of takes your interest away from everything else and puts it on him until he stops and this guy comes out. So that's one thing I had to learn about using this program. And one other thing, use loot. Oh yes, let me go to visual, and let me go over here to the effects, and I use these loot, yellow, color red, color blue, and I use the color skin separate little, I don't know what it does, but it's great, and it actually helped me with the skin a lot. Then I use this thing called Horror Blue. I'm gonna cut that off. There you go. So if I cut that off, it will look like that, but it gives it a nice little look, film look. Then I did a loot wash on it and do that. It kind of like takes the it takes the saturation down a little bit. But this little button right here, I didn't know what none of these buttons did until I actually And I said, I know that's saved, that's open, and that is to launch, but what is this? And it said adjust color. So I just clicked on that. And here are all the color settings for this loop setting right here. So you can come in here and customize this and go further with the look of your film by just adjusting these controls. And you have the controls on each one of these little these little, I call them adjustment layers. I mean, they're basically adjustment layers like you would have inside of After Effects, and you just treat them just like adjustment layers. So we got this, and I just come in here and just did all my adjustments, and then I just kept on layering them up, especially with the yellow, reds, and blues. I really layered them up and push the reds and yellows into his skin, make his skin. I mean, I could did a lot of things, and I just basically just treated these as color balance, hue and saturation, the same stuff you will have in After Effects and Photoshop. It's the same thing here. And what you would do is you would just come in here and just set it on the frame like I did. I set it on this frame. I think it's the frame I used, and just started playing with the colors, let's see. I think I started off with just these three right here, and then I used this little button here to move the LUT color controls or film controls, whatever they're called, little adjustment layers, and just move those around until I got the look that I wanted. And it looked great. I mean, you can look at this. Oh yeah, ambient occlusion. Let's not forget about that. So ambient occlusion. I usually set my ambient occlusion black. That was the old way of doing it when I was in Iclone. I would set everything to black. But it was an issue when I set everything to black, because when I set the ambient color to black, the skin tones in my character right here, it got black. It got really black. It got really dark, and it looked awful. So what I did was come in here and started playing with the ambient color. And the reason why I learned, figured how to figure this out is I did a lot of rendering. I got a whole bunch of renders I did, and I can show you all the renders. I got a bunch over here, a bunch of them I did here, and a bunch of them I did there, and I still wasn't getting it. And then it wasn't until when I got to this button here, the global illumination button. And if you try to look for this in your project, like if you got here's the project. Here's the menu for the timeline editor, and as you can see, I have a lot of stuff in my scene here. A lot of stuff. That's just okay. So from here on up, it's just nothing but props. Here's the avatar, lights, accessories, all the cameras that I use for the scene, and right here at the very bottom, for some reason, is the GI controls. So GI control is right there. You click on that, and it will show up in your timeline. And I couldn't figure out how to show this up in the timeline. I looked for it, and then it wasn't until when I clicked this and I scrolled all the way to the bottom, I found it. Because anytime you have a slider that's green, it can be animated on the timeline. And I looked for this and I couldn't find it. And it was because I got so much stuff in my scene, I had to search all the way down it. What's up, DJ and Sure Normal TV Nerd? How's it going, guys? So this is the call me a racist. I had to fix the dude's color in his skin. I had to separate the skin out and stuff. I'm not being racist. It's just a color skin separator. That's what it says. So what it does is it just basically helped out with the skin. That's all it did. Cut that out. But yeah, the ambient occlusion, you can control it here. All right, and you can also come back and you can control it over here. Now, if you come over here and you mess with this color right here, it does animate. So you got to make sure you go back on your timeline and find out where it is. Here's ambient light, and make sure you watch out for that, because if this color is different from the color you start off with, it'll change. So if this is black and then it turns into like a light gray, you're going to see it when it happens, when you play through your animation. So after messing with these settings all day yesterday and messing with these settings all day yesterday, I finally got something decent out of the anime. Something decent out of Iclone 7 finally. And then after I finished everything and finally hit play to see what it all looked like, then I start seeing this stuff, like the detail on the floor, the light coming through up on the door, and you can see it creeping towards the camera. Like when the door open, it's gonna creep towards the camera. Then I got my character, especially this scene right here where like you got the depth of field starting like right here at this pillar. It's going back, and everything right here is kind of clear. You can like read this. You can actually see him. Now, the reason why I like this, because I had other experiments I did. And let me see, where is it? I'm over here in the Iclone Professional Guild. I posted this up there in Iclone Professional Guild. But I mean, let me try to find, posted up a whole, I mean, as I went along and was rendering this, I was like posting the renders as I went. But here we go. Let me actually find. So this is one of my experiments here. It didn't come out too good.
I got a high priority maintenance order for the server one today.
That's the voice of Hassan Rashid, who did the voice of my character here. Let's see, 720 and 80. There we go. So what's wrong with this picture? Everything is blown out. The lights are blown out. The colors are like bleached, and his suit is just so shiny. And then these lights over here are just this is like blindness, you know. And this didn't work. I thought I had it when I nailed it right here, but you know, this is not good. I mean, I was too busy paying more attention to getting the colors right on his face, because I did renders where his face was just totally like black, and I could not I didn't know how to fix it. Let's see. Here's some more experimented. This is how I got the floors right. I got the floors right by actually these props right here come out of Dash Studio. And what I did with Dash Studio, I had let's start with Dash 3D last night. Oh, cool. So so this was a real-time render inside of Iclone. And I just render it. I mean, just hit render and rendered it out. And I wasn't paying too much to how everything was lighting. I was paying more attention to getting the floor right, getting the floor and all the detail on the floor, because I wanted this detail to come out in the floor as I made the render. You know, as I made the render, and once I got the textures for the floor right, and as you can see, I used the Iray shaders in the PBR, and this is the effect that I got. These are the walls, and like I said, once again, I went into the Dash and got the Iray shaders and brought them in here and used them in the PBR settings, which gave me these wonderful, beautiful looking walls with all the scratches and the lights down here. So that's how I got that under control. Now here's another experiment I did. This is actual another scene out of it, and as you can see, let me go back some, and let me turn this off, this back on. There we go. So as you can see right here in the floor, you can see that I did get the detail but it's not the detail that we saw on the other floor. This floor right here, remember these little circles here that were kind of protruding out and they had a little wear on them? It doesn't show in there because I didn't have my settings right with the shader. You know, the floor PBR, but everything's flat. All the textures in the door, in his uniform here, everything is flat, and it's just everything just looks like plastic. This is the scene after he shot him. I mean, I'm gonna go back and redo this scene. Yeah, so all that cool stuff we had going on in the render we did, and the lights here sucked. So let me show you the really bad render I got off of this. Shh, it's just the door shutting. It's just the door shutting. Shh. It's just the door shutting. Where is it? I know it's here and here somewhere. I think this is it. Here's another render I did, and I still didn't have quite the knack for it yet because I didn't have control over the blur, over the depth of field. Let's see. I'm waiting for my computer to catch up with me. So I still didn't have no control over that. You see how this looks versus, where's my, let's see. That's an old render right there. Let me, well, I'll pull out. You see how this looks versus what you saw earlier. Everything's blown out. Everything's blurry. It's because I didn't have the depth of field under control, and I wasn't controlling it right, you know. And look, all the armor is blown out, so I didn't have no control over the global illumination. I did not know how it worked. You know, this was like a few days ago prior, and by now I basically gave up or tried to getting it done that day. I think that's it. I think that's it. So that's all that happened. Now we went from that to this. You know, this is what we wound up with after lots of trial and error and understanding some of these settings. And one more thing that I want to show you all before I get out of here is let me go to preview. Is this green box? Now the box ain't supposed to be this big. I made this box this big because of the scene, and it is because I made this big. I was able to control a lot of the stuff that went on inside this box. Just make sure if you got a camera, make sure the camera is inside the box, because if you don't, you'll have this green sheen show up. And I had that issue with it. I was like, why is it green? Why is it green? And I did everything. And then I found out, and I realized, hey, I realized green is because the camera is outside the box. So once I bought the camera inside the box, everything looked right. But yeah, this right here, this is the go over here. This is the anchor setting. So you click that and you have total control over this box. This box is a I forgot what it's called, but it has something to do with global illumination and some like voxels. So when I click this button, you're gonna see all those little squares, blah blah this and blah blah that, and it was explained. You go to Real Illusion and go to their website, they will explain all this stuff to you. And I went there to understand how this box worked. I found out how it worked. I found out how to use these controls. Only thing I haven't learned what it does is the linkage. Link to camera, or I have not read up on any of this stuff. I just wanted to learn this. And once I learned that, I wound up with this nice looking animation. And one more thing, there are only, I think, like 2 lights in this whole scene. I have a spotlight down there, and I have another spotlight that's behind him. Everything else is emissive lights. Everything else, I mean, the lights coming off of here, all emissive from PBR. So that's amazing. Once I had got the box, once I got the box, once I understood how the box worked and everything, I was able to get the box under control and actually get all the lights to work the way they're supposed to. Because what happened was the box was like going down like half this hallway structure. So going, I guess you would say north and south, it was like half. You had half the hallway like not colored right, and the other half hallway not colored right, and it's like you could tell the difference. So the moral to my journey in trying to get this look that I've achieved is use everything they gave you. Use everything, play around with it, and you too can have something decent. The try to learn how to control your depth of field and your global illumination, and that's how I was able. Oh yeah, and learn how, if you're using, especially using DAS stuff, and if any of the props have iRay shaders attached to them, and the materials, make sure you port those over and turn it into PBR and load up your roughness and your metallic shaders into the right slots. And and don't forget to also make sure you get your displacement and normal maps set right. And that's the only reason how I was able to get those little circles and all these little indentures into the floor and make it look right, is because I had my normal and displacement maps in the right place at the right settings. Now you have to figure all this stuff out on your own. I could probably come back and do a real tutorial, but this is just basic a walkthrough of everything I did to make this scene, and how I'm probably going to use this as a I guess as a technique I'll just keep using through the rest of the when I do Archive of Infinity. But this is the results of I see I bought this on the 4th and it's the 15th now. So I've been doing this since the 4th of July when I bought it. So you can figure out how long I've been working at trying to figure all this stuff out inside of Iclone 7. So last but not least, all the motions I did in here, I used Mocap Online. Mocap Online is really awesome place to get animations, and they also have the animations in iMotion format. So all you have to do is just go there, look for the Iclone format stuff, and buy it, unzip it, and just put it straight into your motion folder in your public documents file, and you're ready to go. I've got most of their animation sets, and they have a lot of stuff for animations. The most of the animations they have, like I think somewhere around 3,000 animations combined total, maybe even more, because they're bringing some more motions to the market soon. So be on the lookout for that. And what more can I say? If y'all got any questions about this, anything you would like me to go into further, please leave it in the description box. And also, I'm also on Patreon. Check me out. Click donate. Keep me going. And this is One Gun Sean, and I think I'm done. And yeah, by the way, I didn't use OBS this time. I just used the regular Google Hangouts YouTube thing. So the reason why is because I want this recording to show up in the best possible highest resolution. And when I was using OBS, the highest resolution that it will go up to is like 480 when I'm broadcasting from it. So I guess it's an automatic setting. I went to my settings, try to figure it out. I'll figure it out one day. I just use this, and after this is done, it will actually go up to 1080, and you'll be able to see everything a little bit more clear than you probably are now. Because right now, the Hangouts is like broadcasting at a very slow, choppy rate, and as soon as I'm finished, it's gonna actually probably look a little bit better. So this is One Gun Sean, and I'm getting out of here. Hope you all enjoyed this little quickie I did. And love, peace, and hair grease, people.